In a brazen act of provocation, North Korea has destroyed sections of roads leading to the South Korean border. These roads, while not in use for years, held symbolic importance. They represented a tangible link between the two Koreas, a vestige of a time when reunification seemed like a possibility. Their destruction is a clear signal of North Korea's growing hostility and its intent to further isolate itself from its southern neighbor. This act has heightened tensions on the Korean Peninsula, raising concerns about potential military escalation. The South Korean military confirmed the explosions, stating that they occurred near the demilitarized zone that separates the two Koreas. The blasts were significant enough to be detected by South Korean monitoring stations, triggering an immediate response from Seoul. This act of aggression comes at a time of already heightened tensions, following allegations from North Korea about South Korean drone incursions. The international community has expressed concern over North Korea's actions, urging Pyongyang to exercise restraint. The United States, a key ally of South Korea, has condemned the road destructions, calling them unnecessary provocations. The UN Security Council is scheduled to meet to discuss the situation, with calls for increased sanctions against North Korea if it continues its provocative behavior. The destruction of these roads, while seemingly symbolic, represents a significant escalation in North Korea's actions. It is a clear indication that Kim Jong-un is unwilling to engage in dialogue or pursue any form of reconciliation with South Korea. This latest provocation has pushed the two Koreas further apart, dimming hopes for a peaceful resolution to the long-standing conflict. South Korea reacted swiftly to North Korea's actions, firing warning shots across the border near the site of the explosions. The South Korean military has been placed on high alert, with increased patrols along the demilitarized zone. Seoul has vowed to respond firmly to any further provocations, while also calling for calm and urging North Korea to step back from further escalation. We are closely monitoring North Korea's military movements and are fully prepared to respond to any provocations, said a spokesperson for the South Korean Ministry of National Defense. Our military is maintaining a high level of readiness to protect our national security and the safety of our citizens. Despite the strong stance, South Korea is also pursuing diplomatic channels to de-escalate the situation. Seoul has reached out to its allies, including the United States and Japan, to coordinate a response and apply diplomatic pressure on North Korea. South Korea is also seeking to engage with China, North Korea's closest ally, to urge Pyongyang to exercise restraint. The situation remains tense, with both sides on edge. The risk of miscalculation or an unintended incident escalating into a larger conflict is a serious concern. The international community is watching closely, hoping for a peaceful resolution, but bracing for the possibility of further escalation. The destruction of the border roads comes amidst escalating tensions fueled by accusations from North Korea about South Korean drone incursions. Pyongyang claims that South Korean drones carrying anti-North Korean propaganda leaflets have been flying over its territory, including its capital city. While Seoul has not confirmed these claims, it has warned of severe consequences if its citizens' safety is threatened. North Korean state media has been awash with reports about the alleged drone incursions, portraying them as a grave threat to its national security. Pyongyang claims that these drones are not merely carrying leaflets, but also conducting reconnaissance activities and potentially even carrying weapons. These accusations have been met with skepticism from South Korea and its allies, who see them as a pretext for North Korea's aggressive actions. The alleged drone flights, regardless of their veracity, have provided Kim Jong-un with a convenient excuse to ramp up military activities and further isolate North Korea. By portraying South Korea as the aggressor, Kim can justify his regime's militaristic policies and solidify his grip on power. The propaganda value of these alleged incursions should not be underestimated, as they play well to a domestic audience already primed to view South Korea with suspicion and hostility. The international community is struggling to verify North Korea's claims about the drone incursions. Without concrete evidence, it is difficult to determine the validity of these accusations and assess the extent to which they justify North Korea's actions. However, the timing of these allegations, coinciding with North Korea's destruction of the border roads, suggests a deliberate attempt to escalate tensions and create a pretext for further provocations. The roads destroyed by North Korea might have been unused for years, but their demolition carries heavy symbolic weight. They represented a physical connection, however tenuous, between the two Koreas, a remnant of a time when dialogue and cooperation seemed possible. Their destruction is a deliberate act by Kim Jong-un to sever even these symbolic ties, signaling his utter rejection of any reconciliation with South Korea. This act is not merely about destroying concrete and asphalt, said Dr. Soo Kim, a North Korea expert at the RAND Corporation. It's about sending a clear message to South Korea, the United States, and the rest of the world. North Korea is closing the door on diplomacy and is prepared to continue down a path of isolation and confrontation. The destruction of the roads also serves as a potent reminder of the deep-seated mistrust and animosity that continues to plague inter-Korean relations. Despite decades of on-again, off-again talks and agreements, the two Koreas remain divided by a chasm of ideology, history, and mistrust. The road to reconciliation has always been fraught with obstacles, but Kim Jong-un's actions seem determined to make that path even more difficult. The international community has condemned the road destructions, recognizing their symbolic significance. The act has been widely interpreted as a sign of North Korea's bad faith and its unwillingness to engage in meaningful dialogue. It has also raised concerns that North Korea is preparing for further provocations, potentially even military action, to solidify its isolation and strengthen its position. In a swift and decisive move, international leaders have come forward with strong condemnation. The rhetoric is fierce and the stakes are high. Military forces are now on high alert and strategic posturing is evident. The world watches with bated breath as tensions escalate. The question on everyone's mind is what comes next. In a recent statement, North Korea has threatened retaliation against any perceived aggression. The regime has made it clear that they will not hesitate to respond with force if they feel provoked. This escalation is causing significant concern among global leaders who fear the potential for conflict. Kim Jong-un's strategy for North Korea appears to be centered on demonstrating military strength and maintaining a hardline stance against external pressures. By showcasing their capabilities, North Korea aims to solidify its position on the world stage and deter any attempts at intervention. Over the years, North Korea has engaged in numerous provocations and has often broken promises made during diplomatic negotiations. These actions have led to a lack of trust and increased tensions with other countries. The international community remains skeptical of North Korea's intentions and wary of their next moves. The international community is deeply concerned about the potential consequences of North Korea's actions. There are fears that continued provocations could lead to a larger conflict, destabilizing the region and impacting global security. Diplomatic efforts are ongoing, but the situation remains precarious.